Hey there YouTube, I'm Yukitsu, this is the Yukitsu Times, welcome to my channel, welcome back to Banished as we continue on. I just decided to start another bit here because there's some important stuff that I need to cover. One of the things I wanted to talk about as well, I've got a cow herd now with another new baby cow. The trader managed to come by here fairly recently, dropped off some cows. I had to pay a ton of money. They're worth 800 each. 800 value each, so I had to buy two of them at 800. That's a lot. But one of the things I wanted to do about now is I wanted to start changing these from wooden houses into stone houses, and that's something that kind of screwed me over the first time I tried to do that, because I figured I'd just do that. They'd do it really quickly, but that's not how this game works. So the thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to build a boarding house, which costs a lot of wood, which everything in this damn game does. But that's going to be fine, because we'll also go ahead and chop down pretty much all of that. And that should be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up a bit. The way this game works is if you are refurbishing a house, or if a house burns down or something, they need a temporary place to stay to avoid becoming homeless. And the way you do that is you build a boarding house, and they'll live there temporarily. Normally nothing is in the boarding house, so that basically does nothing. But basically what I need to do here is I need to take these buildings that are adjacent to my storage barn, and I need to make sure that they're all made out of stone. I need to make sure that there's, wells around there and all that other good stuff, so that basically if fire happens, I don't get completely screwed over, because the storage barn getting lit on fire is one of the worst things ever. So I'm actually at the point though where I should build another storage barn, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that. Having a second storage barn makes it so that you can start worrying less about what happens to your storage barns, because if something happens to it, you lose a lot of resources and your people get screwed over real fast, real hard. So it's important that you keep an eye on what's going on there. I think we still... Oops, I keep hitting that button. We still need to keep chopping down trees and wood, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tear down this section here, since again we're using this for civilization, we're not using this for hunting or anything like we are up here. This place still chugging away. It's not the most efficient of my hunting lodges, but it's better now that I made that bridge by a couple of venison. And yeah, this place, hopefully that'll work out as well. We built another hunter lodge up here, and we've got this forester lodge, so this sort of area is another sort of secondary, it's sort of like a wilderness area lodge where outdoorsmen tend to live. I built their houses down here, but it doesn't really matter all too much. Anyway, we're just chugging along. As you can see, we've sort of got the log problem a little bit sorted. It's not as sorted as I'd honestly like it to be, but it's more or less sorted, so we're going to be able to turn along without having to get too screwed over by that. Hopefully they'll keep chopping wood throughout the winter and won't actually have any problems with that. Now, another reason that you want to convert all of your houses to stone houses is that stone houses burn a lot less fuel, and since I'm constantly running out of wood, the fact that I'll be burning less fuel is a really nice benefit that we can take advantage of. So that's something that we're going to want to look forward to. I'm considering making another fishery. This one's actually quite profitable. I'm not really sure what the difference is between this one and other ones I've had, but yeah, we're getting quite a lot of fish from this river. I'm not sure though if overfishing is the thing in this game. Haven't been able to test that out yet. And if we look here, like, we got all sorts of people who are having problems with coal because they haven't got firewood, and that can be solved to a certain degree by getting these woodcutters working. So hopefully that will happen soon. And yeah, we just got these buildings all queued up. Now, the thing about cattle farms is it's a really expensive investiture, and it doesn't seem to actually provide any benefits up until you reach the population cap. Once you've done that, these cows will start, you'll start slaughtering cows, and it works really fast once you're up to population cap, so you'll be slaughtering cows left, right, and center, getting a lot of resources from them. We got the merchant here again. Oh, geez, he's got walnut seeds. We don't have very many hide coats, though, so we can't really afford them. What I'm really hoping for is something like wheat, or something that we can make beer out of, because that becomes a good trade commodity. So it is a bit of a twofer if you can get one of those, because not only do you feed your populace, but you can convert it into beer, which makes everyone happy, and you can also trade the beer at a pretty good exchange rate for relatively cheap. So it's a good thing to have. It's much faster than trying to build coats. As you can see, we're out of leather again. This guy's just too fast at his job. And yet no one in this village seems to actually get a chance to wear coats. It's really tragic. Really very sad, but you know what? That's fine. Let's see here. Yeah, firewood's running low, but we just came out of winter before that became a problem, and he's still chopping away, so it's, you know, it's fine. We might want to consider getting another one up here somewhere, but for now I think we're fine. Okay, so we've got this boarding house coming up, and once that's actually built, we'll be able to start upgrading these wooden houses. Now, when you are upgrading wooden houses, it does take builders, so it's best to wait until everything that you're building finishes completely, and once that happens, it'll stop your guys from getting completely dicked over or being out in the boarding house for too long, because they don't like it there. No one wants to live in a boarding house. So yeah, that should help out quite a bit. If we look here, we've still got tons of food, and if we look here as well, it has the overall summary for food, amount of food stored in this Times Are Tough bar. We've got 5,000, which means that we can feed a lot more people than we've been housing. It's just an issue that we don't really have the means to build everything that we want to be building right now to house them, so we're going to have to do that and do a bit of a blitz. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this stone house upgraded. So he should move in here. Looks like he was single, so that's not going to be too disruptive to us. And hopefully we'll get him out of there right quick. One of the things we can do is we can increase the number of builders to the maximum amount, and that'll get that done a little bit faster. So, good on them. We've got enough stone and wood, I believe, to do the whole thing, so this should be fine. So what's going to happen here is this is going to get completely demolished. They'll reclaim some of the resources from the demolished building, just as though if you had unbuilt it. And then they'll go ahead and they'll rebuild it, and that works pretty well. It's better than trying to sort of demolish all the houses, even though I'm pretty sure it actually works in the same way, but I'm not positive about that. I've never tested that. So yeah, we've got ourselves in a pretty good position here where everything's growing quite rapidly without us being in any problems. The problem right now is simply an issue of we need to build more stuff. I'm actually going to go ahead and build this because I can afford to get more people as workers right now, as builders, so let's go ahead and do that. And that'll help us get a nice younger population. You want to keep your population quite young. When you've got an entire town full of like old people in these crammed houses like this without the ability to get out here and enter the workforce, it sort of eventually gets to this awkward point where you've got like nothing but 80-year-olds in your village and they all sort of totter around and they all simultaneously die, and that's awful. But yeah, things are going pretty well here otherwise. Yeah, now that these forester lodges have sort of gotten into the swing of things, things are going quite a bit better. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. There we go. And it looks like we need another woodcutter, since... Actually, this one's got the cap, so we can just increase the cap now. Interesting. But yeah, that will let him chop more. I guess that's all we need to do right now, really. So yeah, this is how you upgrade your houses from wooden structures to stone structures, is you make sure you've got a boarding house for your guy to live, and once he's there, things will sort of be okay for him, and eventually he'll be able to move it back out into his regular house after it's finished demolishing. I'm not really sure what's taking this one so long, honestly. It should be going faster, but we have got 2 workers on it, so yeah, that definitely should be going a little bit faster than it is. Oh well. So these cows, they'll multiply naturally as they go, and eventually it'll basically just be like hunting, but it'll be one that takes up a little bit less space for the amount that you're getting. It's more labor intensive, takes a long time and a big investment, but it really sort of pays off later. So I'm pretty happy with that investment. Sheep are the one that I think are better though, because they give you wool. Chickens give you eggs. I don't know why, but these don't seem to give you milk, which is really odd, but maybe that will be added in later. I don't really know. Yeah, I don't know what my builders are doing. They're just sort of not actually building stuff like they should be. Oh well. You can actually click to see what they're doing by clicking this little arrow here. So these guys are apparently collecting resources. Instead of building. Well, whatever. what we can do if they're doing that is just reprioritize our buildings. I didn't think they were screwing around that badly. Okay, priority and priority. There we go. And that should make these people go ahead and, yeah, there we go. It started going much faster now and telling them to get on their damn job. Good. Okay, and so once that's done, gotten down to 0, it should completely demolish. Okay, so we're near capacity for a lot of stuff, it looks like. Reserve firewood's low, that's fine. Okay, now this goes to demolished. And then it goes to rebuilding, so that's fine. I'm amazed that this hasn't started at all, considering a high priority it. But whatever. Yeah, so our stockpile is actually overflowed now, and we've got all this crap like lying around outside of it, but that's fine, because we're starting to take away from it as well. So that should be okay. And we got this thing, which is really quite efficient for no good reason at holding things like firewood, so that's fine. Okay, so that's been demolished. It's just gone now. Someone's going to go over there, reclaim it all, and then they'll start building the stone house over top of where that wood house used to be. So, all in all, pretty lengthy process, which is why I like having a boarding house. Actually, that guy must have moved into a different house. Yeah, he just moved into the stone house over here, that bastard. So he's old, he's going to die, and it's going to leave us without... what's this guy doing? Taylor, so one of our laborers will just take his place, and that's perfectly acceptable. Let's see here. Do we not? We have too many builders, apparently. Still not sure where they're actually going, but that's the way things are sometimes. So, this thing's been getting too full lately, and it's been preventing us from getting through our full potential, potentially. Like, if it goes into overflow, bad things can happen. I'm not really sure what, I try not to, but now that we've got the second one, things are going to be a little bit easier, as everything coming from around this area is going to go to it instead. I missed the trade boat, but that's fine. I can't really afford anything right now. Anyway, as we can see, we've only got 90 hide coats. I basically need 200. Alright, so how are things going? Everywhere. People... Okay, there we go. We've finally started converting that. We're going to start converting this one as well. And we're going to high priority that. There we go. Actually, I don't think I properly high priority that. There we go. Okay. And while we're at it, I think we actually have enough builders that I can just go ahead and do this one. As you can see, we've got an old population, and they're all sort of single, and that can really harm us later if they all start dying without replacements, so I don't think I've got room for this house here. Yeah, no I don't. So I'm going to put a well there, which I think fits there. Yeah, that fits perfectly. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and build this road out here. And while we're building stone houses, we might as well continue building stone houses. There's no point building wood houses and converting them if you're just going to be able to build them into stone houses right away. Okay, this works. This seems to be working better. I don't know why. But, yeah, I don't know. Let's get more people on building. Okay, so most of the most important ones that threaten our storage barn are built. That's good. Yeah, so we got lots of old people in this town. It's really not good. Fortunately, if you look at our demographics here, we've got a pretty high population all around, lots of children as well. We've got plenty of people who are becoming new adults and moving out, so that should be okay. It's just that, like, I don't like the fact that they're hogging these houses by themselves, because there's no chance that they're going to reproduce. But, you know, that's... yeah, it's their house, they're entitled to it. Okay, there we go. We're going to slow down here. I just realized we actually managed to run out of stone based on that last blitz of expansion, so we're going to have to go ahead and collect more rocks. There we go. And that should help out quite a bit. I don't think that our laborers were doing anything else. So I think that is about all that we're going to be doing for now. The most important thing is sort of showing how I deal with upgrading houses. I know that the first time I did it really screwed me over just because I was like, okay, let's upgrade our houses, and then I didn't have this boarding house. I mean, look at this. This whole ton of people can live in here on a temporary basis. You've got your typical stuff here, and they'll be fine in there. They'll just be perfectly okay for a short period of time. Once that finishes, though, once their house is all finished upgrading, then they'll move back in, and everything will be a little bit more secure. We'll use less wood in our fires, and that means that we'll have more for building and industry. So I hope you found this informative, and as always, I hope to see you all next time. Hey there YouTube, I'm Yukitsu, this is the Yukitsu Times, welcome to my channel, welcome back to Banished, and welcome to a fairly advanced city. So as you can see, we've made a lot of progress since the last time I showed you this place. All of our buildings, all our houses are now made out of stone, though we've still got this boarding house over here that I'm pretty sure is made mostly out of wood. And as you can see, that we've got something that looks a lot more like a city right now. This looks like a real settlement. It's got this sort of confluence in the river point, and bridges all over the place. Nice little sections and neighborhoods where people live. There's a couple marketplaces. I need to sort of get this as a core area surrounded by houses and all that, but this looks and feels more like a city than it did before, as opposed to what it was before, which was just some sort of little pedunk town in the middle of nowhere with nothing, just sort of hunter-gatherers. So how do we feed this sort of place? Well, the way I've been doing it, as you can see, we've got hunter-gatherers in lodges spread out across a lot of our places, actually. We've got multiple camps of those hunter-gatherers all over the place, and they're providing quite a bit of our food. But we've also got this farmland up here in the north, and we've got a little farming community, and much like sort of real life, instead of having myself building my farms in and amongst the city here, I've actually built it outside of the city itself, in the countryside. We've got chickens, sheep, cows, and a whole variety of different crops that are on rotation. And they're providing a humongous amount of food. As you can see, our food is just ridiculous here. So despite the name, times are not that tough here. But there were fires that burned down some of the stuff here. So you can see more hunter lodges. And that's just sort of really letting us build as much as we want in terms of population. What's limiting us right now is actually stone. As you can see, we've got 355 stored right now, but we've got 2 full quarries right now, churning away, pumping out as much stone as we possibly can. And we've also got a couple of these mines here that we've sunk into the mountainside, digging out coal mostly and iron from the other one. And they're going to help us out quite a bit. But as you can see, this is what the city starts to look like once you get developed. I noticed that some people like to sort of build their farms in the middle of their cities, and then they kind of sort of see where they can go from there. But I like to build things sort of... I follow history is how I did this, is the way I did it. So started off primarily with hunter-gathering, and then I sort of branched off, and now I'm starting to build farmland out in the countryside, which is going to basically let me get away with quite a bit more of the nonsense that I want to be getting away with, and expanding out my borders gradually until everything works perfectly, which, you know, you don't normally get to see that in games like this unless you know what you're doing, which is lucky for me, I did. So yeah, we're doing pretty well here, in all honesty. I'm gonna go down here and properly manage this, so let's get a guy working here, because we got sheep down there now. And yeah, we're just building out this farming community down here now. It's gonna expand across this river area, and it's gonna be very irregular looking farms and farmland. It's going to be a little bit more interesting looking as opposed to the gigantic block structure that I've got up in the north, but that's fine. It's going to still provide us with quite a bit of food. One of the reasons I'm building down to here as well is that I want to get access to these rivers, and I wanted to get access to these rock piles a little bit easier, so we're going to go ahead and harvest those as well. And the metal, of course, so that's going to be good there. But yeah, now we can build a fishery in this lake here, and that'll be a lot more profitable than our other fishery, and hopefully we'll be prosperous from that. And also this area, it presents huge tracts of good farmland. I mean, this is probably one of the best areas on the map for setting up a mass sort of farm. So I'll probably do that there, and I'm going to use this sort of rocky, uninhabitable area as more series of quarries. So that's going to be the way things go here. As you can see, we finally started to we're really starting to pull ahead on the stone here just because of how many people I've got working down in the quarries there. It's a dangerous job and a lot of people are getting killed, but we've got about 300 people living here now, so we no longer have to worry about a couple people getting snuffed. We can now carry on. Someone inevitably will take their job. We've got 21 spare people who are just sort of laying about and doing nothing. Actually, I think I sent them on a death march down to go mine rocks, but that's fine. They'll probably do fine by us anyway. Now that what we want to make sure is that as we're expanding our city, we're always mindful of how much food we can manage. And right now, the way things are, our food's been going up rapidly, so we don't really need to worry too much about food. We can look at sort of more general trends over here with our trends graphs thing here. There we go. And let's go look at food. So as you can see, it's been very stable, and it's been quite high. There were some small dips and dives, but all in all, it's been very steady the past, like, 5 years. And it's been increasing, so we can get away with more population than we got here. We're going to go ahead and start doing that, because why the hell not? And, I mean, we're just going to mostly focus it around this market here. Looks like I can't build there because that's too close to that hill there. So we're just going to build it on the other side. That is perfectly fine. So can do something like that and get away with that pretty easily. And things just sort of are starting to look proper. This is actually quite nice looking. This is sort of how I want a city to look in this sort of oldie, tiny kind of city, as opposed to like the clean modern city in SimCity. This is kind of how I want it to look. But yeah, this game took me a little while, took me a little fiddling around, but I think I've sort of figured out how to do most of what I want to be doing. Basically, the way that you want to get this done is you really want to start off with this sort of hunter lodge, gatherer hut combination, and you want to expand them out so that you've got several of those combinations. I need a gathering hut up there, actually, because they provide a lot of good food for you without you having to provide a lot of labor. And when you don't have a high population, being able to do that without having a strong amount of labor at your disposal and huge amounts of land really lets you do that. But now that I've got that sort of sprawl going on, these farms, the fact that they're much more compact makes them much more profitable. And of course animals, if you can get them, quite a lot of food, because this is how much I'm getting every season from these guys from a very small compact area and only 2 workers. So the farms, very excellent. Cows, they give you leather as well, and sheep give you wool. So all these things really useful. A lot of food, a lot of other good things. And yeah, we're doing pretty well. So from here, what you want to do is just slowly expand outwards, keep your buildings going, and make sure that everybody's sort of happy. And you can see that I've got some problems because my people are walking too far. You can check to see where people are walking to and from just by clicking on this little paths button, number 7 or whatever, and this will show me sort of where people live and where they work. So for example, I know these guys all live and work around here. That's good, so this is all perfectly done. But the problem comes around when I get to, I think, yeah, this one, where they work all the way up there and they live all the way down here. So we need another house up here. In fact, we need probably 4 more houses up here, so we're going to get on that, and that should help us out in that regard. And yeah, you just keep an eye on that. You just make sure that you're constantly building so that people are as close as they possibly can be to their work, and things should work out pretty well for you as you advance in this stage of the game, because like it's harder to tell just by looking how people are doing, because the distances they have to travel are so much further in this particular scenario than they would be normally. So we've got another woodcutter up here. Every sort of little town area, once it gets to that size, you really do need a woodcutter of its own. I kind of want to build a tailor up there, but I'm not really sure where to put him, and a blacksmith is also something that I would like to have up here, but again, I don't really know where to put him. So we're going to figure that out eventually, but for now we're just going to continue on doing what we're doing. Gonna get this stone actually, because we kind of need it. So yeah, we're doing really well in terms of resources and resources gained, food gained, and we can afford this big boost in population, hopefully. We'll find out once it hits. The problem is that lately, once I've gotten to this large a city, pathfinding for my builders has gotten a little bit wonky, so they tend not to really do the right thing. They just sort of mill around